Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Austin and I am a fashion and beauty content creator based in New York City, and today's video is all about media kits. I've gotten questions from you on TikTok and on Instagram asking, what is a media kit? Do I actually need one? And of course, what should I be including in it? We'll cover all that and more in today's video, including the one thing that you should not include in your media kit. So be sure to watch through to the end for all of my best tips. And if this is your first time stumbling across my channel, please do consider subscribing. It's a lot of fun around here. Every Sunday I come on and do beauty product reviews and share tips for beauty and fashion content creators. So if that sounds like something you think you might enjoy, please do hit the red button down below to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on your notifications to get notified every time I upload. Let's dive right into the video. Plain and simple, what is a media kit? A media kit is basically a PDF that you can send to brands that gives information about your audience, what type of content you post about, a little bit of background on you, and also shares ways to contact you and describes how to work with you. Making a media kit as a blogger and content creator is really fun because you get to kind of put your PR and marketing hat on and think about how can you get a brand to understand your story and your audience so that they can figure out if they would be interested in working with you. I found a media kit useful whether a brand is reaching out to me or I am pitching that brand. And if you want to learn a little bit more about my personal pitching strategy, you can check out my ebook, Right on Pitch. It's always linked in the description box of these videos, and you can head on over to the Right on Pitch page of my blog and read audience testimonials and learn more about what you get in that pitching guide, so be sure to check it out. If you want to create a media kit and you're wondering how long it should be, I think it kind of depends on the situation, but I'll give you my personal view on it. So back in the day, I actually used to send out like a one-pager, and it was basically what I was calling my media kit at the time, but it was really just a one-sheet overview of me and my audience. I'll share it on the screen so you can take a look at it, and as you can see, it's really random. The brand colors are not my brand colors at all, but it was kind of a nice, clean way to present a brand with more information about my audience, let them know a bit about my background, see a photo of me, and just have it all in one place. So I'm actually a believer that you should have both a one-sheeter, kind of like this, as well as a more detailed media kit. My media kit personally is actually 4 pages long, and I will be sharing, what I include in that media kit in this video, but I think the takeaway there is that it's not 4 pages just of text, right? Like there's a lot of images to break it up, there are graphics, I include logos of brands I've worked with previously, and so when I say that it's 4 pages, it still is pretty quick to look through and understand different components of my brand and my identity. Now, I'm a believer that your resume should never be longer than 1 page because, as someone said to me once at my Marie Claire internship, if Nina Garcia's resume is 1 page, yours should be too. I do believe that a media kit is a place where if you do it right and execute it well, you can share that additional information and even further sway a brand to work with you. I think that across the board, it's pretty easy for a brand to look at your Instagram profile and, looking at mine, for example, say, okay, she has 11,000 followers, she's based in New York, her audience seems mostly female, so maybe she'd be a good fit for me. And I think the media kit is an opportunity to show brands what they may not see on the surface level when they check out your social media profiles or your blog. The last thing I want to address before I start talking about what you should actually include in your media kit is how to make one for free, and the answer is simple. Use Canva. I've used Canva for pretty much every media kit I've ever created, and while it has improved greatly over time, especially now thanks to Cheryl, now that I got my branding done over the summer, it's looking very professional. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, which definitely wasn't before because I am not a graphic designer. But even if you're not a graphic designer and you're design challenged like me, you can find tons of awesome free templates on Canva to check out and use to make a media kit that will look professional and will impress brands. I currently also use Canva Pro, which gives me a lot more options, but there's still so much you can do with the free version. And another suggestion I have is to search for media kit templates on Etsy. A lot of those are actually files that you can edit in Canva, and you can find a lot of them for pretty low cost. So again, if you are looking for a little help on the design front, that might be another route to go. So here are my 5 essential things that you should definitely include in your media kit, and then I will share some additional things that are not necessary, but that I think make a big difference and will enhance your media kit greatly if you include. Number 1, I think a paragraph on you, background info about who you are, are, why you're doing this, how it all got started is really helpful for brands that aren't familiar with you. So for me, I kind of talk a little bit about my background as a magazine editor, how I had a blog on the side, and how I have a very editorial approach to my blog and my content, and that same editorial process is exactly what I use when I'm creating content for a brand. So they know they're going to get a really thoughtful experience, they know that they have someone who thinks through location and props and things like that, and I think that that helps set me apart among other bloggers who are probably similar to my following size or in the same location or talk about the same topics. The second thing you should definitely include is your following stats. And yes, this is something a brand can go find for themselves, but having all of your social media followings listed in one place is really helpful for brands. There is one thing I want to call out here, and I know that some of you probably do this, and I'm gonna ask that you just like shut this down right now, which is that a lot of people for Pinterest will list their monthly views on Pinterest as their audience, which is not right at all. So if you have 100,000 monthly viewers on Pinterest, but you only have 7,000 followers, please just list your followers. Views on Pinterest are not the same thing as audience, and I've seen a ton of bloggers list their monthly views of Pinterest as their audience size on a media kit, and it's just a little misleading and confusing, so just make sure that you're including your follower number. The third thing you should include is your contact information. So for me, that is my business email as well as my cell phone number. Totally up to you if you want to include a cell phone or not, but definitely having an email address where a brand can contact you on there is super helpful. The fourth thing that I would definitely include in your media kit is an audience breakdown of your main platform. So if your main platform is your blog, break down your blog readership. If your main platform is Instagram, go to your Instagram analytics. You need to have either a business or a creator account to view this, and check out your audience age, gender, location, and any other information that the insights provide that you can share with a brand so that they understand who your audience is. And the fifth thing I would include is what services you offer and on which platforms. So on the last page of my media kit, I share all of the different options for content that I can produce and create for brands. So that could include like a dedicated YouTube video where I talk about a product for the whole video, or it could be maybe a non-dedicated mention where I do a little call out at the beginning, and I have kind of different prices for both of those things. I also list, Instagram stories, Reels, TikToks, things like that. But those are my 5 essential things. I think that above all else, you should definitely have those on your media kit. And now I'm going to share some additional information that I would definitely include that I think will make a brand think that you are doing an amazing job, just kind of setting yourself up, providing them with real insights into your audience and the value that you could provide if they choose to work with you. So one thing that I've started including is my top performing posts on different platforms. So in my media kit, I actually focus on 3 platforms. And again, if you just have one main one, if you just create content on Instagram or you just have a blog, focus your media kit entirely on that. But I found that the 3 main platforms that brands want to collaborate with me on are my blog, Instagram, and YouTube. So I like to share my top 3 posts on each of those platforms from the last year so brands can see some examples of what my audience really loves and is resonating with. On a similar note, another thing I would include are topics or categories that my readers love. So here on YouTube, it's pretty specific. It's beauty product reviews and it's content creation tips. And then there are a couple of kind of subcategories that fall out of those as well. But those are kind of my main topics here on YouTube. So hopefully someone would know not to reach out to me and ask me to do like a food video here on YouTube, because that's really not content that I create and that my audience likes, and that just sets kind of the expectation of what content I create on which platform. And if you are including platforms other than your main platform, again, kind of sharing those audience breakdowns and sharing insights about your followers with the brand can be really helpful. Another thing that I like to include is my previous brand partners, because I think it helps let brands know that I have worked with other brands in a paid capacity before. So I kind of pick the most noteworthy names to put on here, but you can put small brand names on here as well if you haven't worked with any major or national brands yet. And I think it's just the opportunity to show people like, hey, I've worked with other companies and I have done great work, and here are a couple of examples that I can throw out here. And if you're including the logos of previous brand partners that you've worked with, you could also include a testimonial or 2. I think that these can be really powerful in showing a brand that you're sending your media kit to that you have been a great partner to other brands and that you are really collaborative or creative or whatever the brand is able to say about you in that testimonial. If you don't have room in your media kit to include testimonials, you could include them on the partnerships page on your website. I will link my partnerships page on my website down below too, because if you don't have a media kit or don't really have the capacity to create one right now, I think also having a partnerships page on your website is really key because it allows brands to kind of check you out before they even reach out to you. So it gives them all of that information and some previous examples of brand work that you've done in one place on your website. I just realized my blinds are making this very interesting pattern on my shirt right now. So I'm not wearing a fabulous pearled crossbody or anything. This is just the current sun situation. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics about media kits, about why they're important, about how to make one for free, and what to include in the media kit, this brings me to my last point, which is what not to include in your media kit. Any of my TikTok fam probably already knows what I'm going to say, but please do not include your rates on your media kit. You know, everyone has different opinions about this, and if you do have a different opinion, I'd actually love to hear from you in the comments down below, but just to give you my viewpoint on this, I find that if you send your rates to a brand, you are really locking yourself in and potentially missing out on a lot of money. I personally find that including rates in my media kits really limits me as far as what I can actually do with the brand, because I might go in thinking that they only have X amount of money to pay me when really they were able to offer me Y. And to me, then I just missed out on potentially hundreds or thousands of dollars that maybe I wasn't anticipating. And I think one big issue with this as well is that, you know, there's really no industry pay standard for influencers. I mean, I've done some work, you know, some reporting for HuffPost, talking about influencer pay transparency, and I'll link those posts down below. But because there is no industry standard of pay for different projects, this leads to a lot of influencers severely undercharging for their content. I've had people message me and say like, hey, the brand wants me to do this, and that, this and that. They want perpetual rights to my content and they're gonna pay me $50. Is that right? And I'm like, no, that is not right at all. I think that the conversation about what you're going to get paid should be via an email exchange or a phone call with a brand, and not just like listed plain and simple in your media kit, because as you guys probably know if you've watched my channel before, there are just so many factors that go into different brand deals. And I'll leave a link to this video right here where I talk about the 8 factors that can actually influence the price of a brand deal. So definitely be sure to go give that a watch if you haven't already, because it'll give you some ideas of what exactly you should be charging for when negotiating a brand deal. One thing that I think is helpful for brands is for you to at least provide a range of what you're thinking. So you could say, you know, my lowest paid kind of post is maybe a Twitter post and it costs X amount of money, whereas my highest paid post would be a dedicated YouTube video which costs X amount of money. So these are kind of the prices for just the content creation itself, and then if you want any exclusivity or usage rights, I would obviously be calculating an additional rate for that, and I could kind of let you know what in addition I would need there, because then maybe the brand can look at it, and if they are on the lower end of your budget, say, you know, we did want to reach out initially about a YouTube video. I think that's out of our price range, but we would love to work with you on some Instagram stories because it does seem like those are within your range. I know negotiating with brands isn't easy, but definitely go check out that other video I mentioned. I talk about it a lot more in there. And if you have additional questions about negotiating with brands and pricing yourself and all of that, you can leave them in the comments down below, and maybe I can create a future video about that or do my best to get back to you in the comments. All right, everyone, that was a jam-packed video filled with lots of info. I really hope you found it helpful, and please let me know if you end up creating a media kit in Canva. I would be super curious to hear how it went for you and if you were able to implement any of these tips while you created it. I've said this before, but you can always feel free to say hi over on Instagram. Just send me a DM and I will be able to get back to you. And it would be great to just learn a little bit about, you know, who you are, what kind of content you create. And again, if you have any other questions for me, hopefully I can answer them there as well. Thank you all again so much for watching today's video. As I mentioned at the beginning, please do consider subscribing to this channel. I put out new videos every Sunday all about beauty product reviews and tips for beauty and fashion content creators. So I would love to have you as part of my YouTube YouTube fam, and don't forget to connect with me at my other social channels. They're all linked down below in the description box. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in next week's video. Bye!